Hey, everybody. Listen, welcome. This is our virtual hangout, and we are about to have some amazing fun, great conversation. I don't know if we're going to be spiritual or not, but we're going to enjoy ourselves. It's going to be an absolute great time. So this is what I need you to do. I want you to like, comment, tag, and share as we are doing right now. We are liking, commenting, tagging, and sharing, and we want you to help us get this out there. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We got the family on tonight. We're waiting for one of the other stars to come, but we're going to get started as we go tonight. And we've already started before we even went live. So I want y'all to come on in, and we're going to get started. All right, we're going to do all the official protocol stuff. Get that out the way.
Protocol.
I'm just saying because we got to honor Dad, so we want to honor Dad.
You got to sow a seed into. Oh, okay.
Hey, he's on. Bishop is on.
Yes, I'm acknowledging the bishop.
Hey, Dad. Blessings. That's his famous line.
Blessings.
You're not getting much more than that.
So because we have PKs tonight, it's Hey Pop. Now any other night it'd be like Hey Bishop. but tonight it's Hey Pop. So listen, let me do a shout out real quick. My dad and my sister couldn't be with us because they're handling some family business tonight, and I appreciate them doing what they're doing. So we want to shout out our sister tonight as she's holding the fort down with my dad, helping support him. So I want to make sure that we do that, or she would have been on here cutting up with us as well. All right, so I see y'all coming on in. We got people from Chicago. We got people all over that's watching us, and it's about to be on and popping. So the first thing is, oh Lord, Jason and Jonathan, look at this one right here. My Lord, have mercy.
Troublemaker.
Listen, I don't know what these comments. I'm wondering if I can filter these comments because I don't know what this is about to be. All right, so let's do this real quick. Everybody, just go around real quick, and you know what? I might do the introduction. Let me do this, and then y'all can speak after I introduce y'all because I feel like the things I need to say are going to be very good. So, of course, y'all, we got the preacher that cut up tonight that caused all this ruckus, right fresh from the pulpit. Let's thank God.
I changed my shirt
for his eminence and his grace. The right Reverend Bishop.
You're wrong for that.
We start early, Doc.
Start early, George.
We start early, Doc.
You
must live
wrong
around
for
the
that.
corner from the studios, because I mean, you home and you're dry, sitting behind your desk with 1,000 books. You probably read about 30 of those books. Vanity books behind you. Go ahead, Bishop.
All right.
I'm so glad you had my shower and everything.
Listen, that's
We thank God for that.
All right, next, I'm my baby brother. Now, let me say this on a serious note. He just dropped his new album, Close, and this is the closest you're gonna get to him. So I want you to get that album. Jason Nelson,
we're technically the baby brothers, technically speaking.
I need you to wait your turn, man.
Actually, technically, I am the baby brother.
Oh.
All right, next.
Speaking, we're the twins, so we're the babies. So,
amen. Next,
go ahead and introduce me. Go ahead and introduce me.
Next, we have the Misty Deacon. I want y'all to know he is a deacon in the Lord Church, and he was mystified. I want you to know, and that's George Moore. What's up, George?
What's up, baby?
Listen, I need y'all to know if you ever need a quartet, y'all need to call George Moore.
George is the guy.
Open for business.
Give you the
all right. Now we have the Daisy amongst us all. I know y'all thought her name was Elise, but her name is really Daisy. Can we celebrate the Lord for Daisy Moore? Let's
Sharon Elise.
And last but not least, because he doesn't know what humility is, he's going to make himself known. He's not just Jonathan Nelson, he's the elder and the prophet. We want to thank God for Jonathan Nelson.
Elder Nelson?
Okay, I couldn't talk until you clap for me.
All right, listen. Let's take a minute. Everybody, just greet everybody. Let's greet the people. Say something real quick before we start talking. Start with you, George. I'll let you kick it off.
Hi, guys.
Well, I'm glad to be here. It's honored to be here with my brothers and my sister and my dad. It's good to know that my brother's not here because you all see enough of him. You all need to know where the oil is. It's time that you learn who got the gusto. So that's all y'all need to know for now. The service is in the hands of the MC.
At least, will you say something?
Hey guys, please ignore George. He is off of his meds tonight. But I'm super excited to be with you guys and my brothers and my dad. I love y'all.
Jason,
that's Sharon's apartment that she's in. That's her apartment.
Oh my God.
That's her apartment. I won't say what city it's in, but that's her apartment. She grown, y'all. She grown.
Listen. Wrong. All the tea tonight. I guess we getting started early.
We getting started. It be your own father. It's your own father.
The tea is being poured. Praise the Lord. The tea is being poured. Jonathan, Jason.
Hi.
Hello.
I don't know.
Well,
I've already been talking. So,
all right.
Janice is there. Hey, Janice.
Hey, Jan.
Hey, Janice.
She's taking care of the children.
All right, so we got to start with some of this, and then we'll move into, because we're gonna have fun about it. Let's talk about, we've been enjoying the conference and celebrating what's happening. And George and Elise, your dad really preached tonight. So how y'all feeling about what's happening? Y'all were there at the recording, all that kind of stuff.
At the recording, you mean the service that we just finished?
The live service that we just had?
No,
No, we literally, I changed my hair and everything.
The live service that we just premiered.
No, this is a wig.
That was quick.
The live service that we just premiered.
But anyway, back to what the question was. I enjoyed that. He did a phenomenal job. And, that shout, we had to play some shout.
I think he did what he came to do. That's what I feel that way. I think he did what he came to do.
Ain't it embarrassing, though, like when your dad preached somewhere and he do a bad job?
Yeah, he didn't bomb tonight. Like, he did not bomb
right.
tonight. So,
tonight. Like he does bomb, but he just didn't bomb tonight.
Not tonight.
Got it. Okay. Like he went, come back here.
Definitely was paying attention. So that all your points make sense.
I remember one time a guest pastor came to the church and I had the nerve to ask his son, I was like, hey, do your dad hoop? And he was like, does he hoop?
Does he hoop?
The hoop was trash, dog. And I felt so bad afterwards. I was like, oh, man, I feel that.
Wait a minute. I need everybody to pause. Because the star has arrived. We don't know about his humility being in competition with his father. But we do thank God that he is at least consented to join us. And as we all rise, can we welcome the elder Mark Moore? God bless you, Mr. God.
I just want to know why y'all haven't cashed out me my honorarium yet.
Ooh, okay.
Why am I still waiting? I told y'all I only do this if y'all pay me up front. That's what I said. I was clear and everything. And yeah,
I have the same demands.
We do Zelle over here.
Okay, my Zelle is JTunes. Okay, all right.
There it is. I'll take it.
Keep playing. You're gonna get requests. Watch.
That's why I said JT.
Baby need a pair of shoes.
Oh, man.
Mark, how you doing, man? Because we already in it.
I'm doing good. I just got out of church, and I'm gonna be at the hotel in a minute. So I said I can't wait no longer. I got to get on here and see what's going on. So I'm happy to be here.
So,
And
Mark,
it must be said. It must be said that it was quite amazing to me that you were preaching in direct competition with your father tonight, sharing your own service and doing your best to dilute the audience that was.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're
by,
doing.
Being
He's building his own kingdom
Elder Mark
within a
Moore, the
kingdom.
presider of
So
YLC.
so you woke up and chose violence. That's what you're saying. You chose violence. That's what we're going with. Okay. First of all, my service started an hour earlier. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Well, then
I
you
was
must have been
preaching
wrong.
tonight. I was preaching tonight.
oh, he froze up. He froze.
Oh well.
He froze up.
True story.
We just heard true story. The Lord didn't want us
That's
to
all
hear
we
nothing
heard.
else.
The Lord cut out.
I said I was preaching tonight and sharing my father's sermon at the same time.
That
Live
takes
from
skill.
the pulpit.
That takes skill.
It
That
does.
does take
Yeah.
skill.
That does.
Everybody's not able.
Were you commenting while you were preaching?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, he did. He commented.
Yep.
No, seriously.
Hey, John, it was a one-word comment, though. It was a one-word comment. It was Dad. I thought I was really preaching, and to come to find out, he just said Dad.
That's all
Was
I
that
can
why
get
you
out.
did one of your lean over and grab your neighbor by the hand? Dad.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. So what have y'all been talking about?
Yes,
Basically, how I'm more anointed than you. Basically.
Oh, y'all been on here lying.
These are
That's what
things.
you're saying. I've been on here lying.
I did say that, so you know.
We were talking about a pastor that came and preached for your dad. He obviously wasn't good, but his kid said that he was, though.
Yeah, I told him.
I know exactly. I'm about to go to my angry place.
I told him the story before and how I was like, "Hey, did your dad hoop?" And it was like,
Does he who?
"Who?"
Does he who?
I got a question. I got a question for the Nelsons. I want to know: did you all ever rag your dad about guest speakers that he would have?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the church fellowships that we hated
What?
going to some of those churches.
Oh, it's about to get good, Doc.
Was that a real
Listen.
question, Dad?
He kept having this one guy.
Yeah,
He kept having this one guy come, and he had this his tag at the end, and I don't even care at this point. But he had this tag. Jonathan's like, Jason, please just. But he had this tag at the end. I used to get what is it? I used to get drunk on Hennessy, but now I get drunk on the Holy Ghost. That's how you knew he was entering into his spiel at the end. And it didn't matter what he was
his
preaching.
clothes, Jason. His clothes.
That new wine.
It's a spill.
Spiel definitely wasn't a close. Look at John. No. So yes, we absolutely begged him to stop answering the "I'm in your city" doc phone calls.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Oh
Yes.
my God. Mm.
Y'all
My
remember
dad,
the
my dad takes in stray preachers.
Straight
Ain't got
preach-
nowhere to go.
He
Like,
is
Did
definitely a son
they
of
stay in
James
your
Jones
house
Sr.
though?
No,
Did the
they
preachers
didn't
stay in
the
your
house.
house?
They didn't stay in the house.
Stay
Okay.
in a house.
Well, all of the preachers that came to preach for us back in the day, they stayed with us.
at Hotel Nelson.
Listen, like it was a 5-star hotel.
Also known as the Dewdrop Inn.
I don't know what was worse.
Hey, wait a minute.
Preaching
I
or company?
was one of those straight preachers that stay to y'all's house.
You were.
Well, thank God that you stayed. We became family, but it's other people that we didn't want to be there.
Hey, Mark and Sherry, can y'all imagine the conversations they was having behind Dad's back when they first met him?
Yes, yes, I can.
No, I don't want to, man, and I don't want to hear it. I'm on here. Y'all know I can hear you. Y'all know I can hear you.
True story though. Look, when we first met Bishop Mark, he came to the church. I guess I don't know the interview or whatever, but he came and then we had to.
I had no idea I was going to end up
Preach Mother's
becoming
Day.
part of y'all.
Right, he
Just
preached
for
Mother's Day.
revival.
But how do we get to driving you back to Indianapolis in the red Camry.
Here's what happened. And the red Nissan, first of all, it was a Nissan.
Okay, whatever it was, I remember it red.
What happened was your father met me in Seattle at a bishop board meeting. He came and introduced himself to me and told me who he was and said, you know, I pastored the church that your grandfather was the first pastor of. And I want you to come and preach to me. And so we set this calendar engagement, and like I'm there preaching on the second day of the meeting. We're up in that mezzanine room talking, and somehow we just knew we had this connection.
That comment, I'm sorry, that comment, 2-star preacher.
Did you see this?
What they say?
They said,
"Oh, they got 5-star treatment, but gave 2-star preaching."
We treated you like you were staying at the Renaissance, and you treated us like you were at the Motel 6.
Okay, all right, Mark, go back to the story though.
You kept the light on.
Sorry, I got distracted. That was the best.
Love connection. So by the time before I left, I knew that I was supposed to be in Baltimore, and so out of that, you guys ended up coming and helping me move. If that's what you want to call it, helping me, if that's what you want to call it.
Oh no! So we didn't help you bring that stuff down because weren't you on the top level, the third floor, or something like that?
No, I was on the. See, y'all were so out of it. I was on the main floor.
Oh, okay, all right.
But here's the problem, Mark. It's 3 of us against 1, so we say you're on a high level.
You was on the 10th floor.
It was just years ago. I remember that was like our first big trip driving on the highway. We were so pumped up.
You guys were new to driving.
New to driving.
We were 16, I think, 16 or 17.
10-hour ride.
I'm gonna send my boys to help you. I'm gonna send my boys to help you. So it was a trip.
And then it was a U-Haul. It was a U-Haul. Was it you and James in the U-Haul?
Yeah,
and me and Jason in the car.
You guys had my car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys were good help driving. Yeah, we do.
Oh,
we do.
But that was it.
Driving.
Nothing else. Just driving.
Here or only driving. You were great drivers.
Loading trucks, not so much. It's like, we're PKs. We don't do this kind of stuff.
Do y'all see the equity we have in you all's lives? Did y'all see that?
Everybody, Mark wasn't there then. Mark was
right.
Yeah, Mark was the only one.
Yeah, exactly. Do y'all remember that Mark was the ring bearer at my wedding? Do y'all remember that?
I do.
Wow.
I do.
I didn't remember that, but wow.
We're taking it back. Mark is dying right now. He's dying. Mark, just turn the screen up like that. Oh my God, I know right now. Remember, he was the ring bearer at my wedding.
I'm saying, since we're going down memory lane about who was here and who wasn't, I mean, we might as well just go ahead and talk about what was and what wasn't.
But I'd like to say this though. I always celebrate Bishop Mark, and I like to say it publicly. I just love. He's been so consistent throughout the years with us. But more than anything, it's been so many people that have honored Dad, and then it's been so many people that have dishonored Dad.
Absolutely.
And you're one of the ones that have honored him throughout the years and still do so. So I tell you that all the time. I really appreciate you and Dr. Shirley and more, about how you guys just really take care of Mom and Dad. It's a genuineness there, and I honor you. I will forever honor you and respect you, not just because of our love for you, but because of the way you love our parents. I just want to say that publicly for all those that are watching.
Well, I want to say, Paul, your parents saved my life. They saved our lives. We were coming, like I'd lost my dad. I've been bouncing around for like 3 years on the field, and just a myriad of problems and stuff going on. And coming to Baltimore was the best decision probably I ever made. Certainly at that point in my life. Bethlehem Temple, OGBT, was a healing for me, and your family was, just a tremendous blessing. So I'm grateful. I think it's part of the PK. I mean, you guys know what it is as PKs, the kind of stuff you go through in church. And so when you meet people that are real and that really have your back, you're grateful for them. You don't forget that. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget him being with us, at a time when we didn't have anything really to offer. And he loved us. Your mom loved us. Your family loved us. So I'm really appreciative of you guys.
in all seriousness, and I want to talk about this, and I know we.
Mark, can you mute your car for a second while we're talking? Thanks.
Roll your window up, dog.
Yo, like,
First of all, y'all ought to be glad I'm here. I figured I'd come give y'all some views. So you ought to
I was really
this car noise.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, if Mark don't mute that car,
We're trying to have a deep conversation.
you see a car atmosphere.
Look at her playing shifting the atmosphere. You hear her playing all the hits. You hear her playing the heel.
yo.
All you hear is highway.
Right.
James is talking highway, highway, highway.
Hey, that's the service you get when you don't pay them enough. That's what it is. We didn't tell them enough. That's what it
You're
was.
talking about 2-star service.
Right. He's got his car on the windows up.
He got around in a pinto on his way back to his hotel.
Oh my God! Look, he left us for real. He left us for real, y'all. Look, James, what were you saying?
Oh, have mercy.
He's still really on.
Dirty sounds.
I sure hope he got his headphones in.
And what
God
made
help
it bad was Sharon tried to text behind the scenes.
Somebody said it's a highway to heaven.
Really tried.
That's what he was on. My God, he was walking up the King's Highway, wasn't he?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm sorry. That's funny. That's funny.
Can you get this out of my face?
Hold on.
More envelope.
Let me see. Let me see.
Jason.
Why are you like this?
Put it down in the corner over there. So.
So I have a question. I don't know, James. I know you had something
Go ahead,
to ask.
Jonathan. Go ahead.
So can I ask a real question? So of course Mark is building Wild Sea, but from Pastor's Kid standpoint, what's up, Jermaine? You know that there's a lot of sacrifices that we all have made. Bishop is a pastor's kid as well. Mm-hmm. So can we acknowledge some of the hardships that we've had, that we've overcome?
That's where I was going, Jonathan. Yep, that's where
I felt that in my spirit.
Do you want that alphabetically or categorically?
However you got it. Just let it roll.
I'll let it roll. Go first. Because
oh boy, here we go.
You gonna let who go first?
Anybody.
It's not gonna be.
Well, I thought George was going first.
Yeah, I thought right.
Go ahead, George.
Right.
Bring Mark back on and let him howl at us and talk over his car while he's giving his story.
Well, I think coming is he back?
Yes, he's back.
There he
still
is.
laughing.
Well, at least you're quiet.
He left us again.
If you're gonna come in, stay. But anyway,
treatment.
I think some of the hardships of being a PK is the feeling of being taken for granted by the people that you serve. Sometimes as the PK, you work really hard to help serve the members of the church. And if you're trying to build a business or build a brand, sometimes those same people are not the ones that's going to support you. As a PK, sometimes the biggest support you will receive is from everybody else. But you spend all of your time at the church helping them, but they don't support you. And I think that's one of the hardships. That's kind of hard to get your head around. It's like, I do so much to try to help you guys, but you guys don't support me back. So
yeah, that's good. Who's next? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Daisy.
I think what I was gonna say was I think I remember talking to my dad about this. Like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't ask for it. And so some of the sacrifices and the compromises that, you have to make, it's like, well, I wanted. So why do I have to actually go down this route? So yeah, I think that's been the biggest one for me. Of course, there's other challenges and issues, but it's just kind of been that back and forth. You know, I heard my dad say some time back, he said, you don't want to go through what the sacrifice feels like, but you want to reap the benefits of being who you are. And so I had to realize being who I am comes with benefits, but it also comes with sacrifices. And so I got to take the good with the bad. Like I can't just reap having a good name and coming from a good family, or, you know, coming from a godly family. I have to absolutely, Tamel, we're gonna get there. You have to take the sacrifices. So I think that's been a really big thing for me.
Let me say,
go ahead, Jameson. Go ahead.
Jameson, right? You saw it in the comments. This is Jameson talking, and so James, Jason, and Jonathan.
I'm sorry.
It's late and I'm already sleepy. But let me tell you, I think this one of the sacrifices that we really don't talk about is how much finances left our house that we never had a chance to utilize in our house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dad gave so much money to people, and because his dad has always had the biggest heart in the world. So his perspective was, if I have a shirt, I'll give it to you. Literally, I'll take a shirt off my back if I have to. And so when we talk about all of the financial toll of being a PK, I think that's one of the reasons why we have a tendency to especially Sharon, to be a little bit bougie and some of the final things in life, Sharon. And but
I thought it was Daisy. Which one is it?
It's Daisy is in parentheses. So but honestly, I think sometimes when we want to take care of ourselves and have a little fun with our family, whatever, some of those things are tied directly to, in my estimation, the financial sacrifices that we make as PKs, or rather, we were made on our behalf as PKs. It wasn't really what we had to endure because he was making it.
I'd like to talk about how we were forced to do things that we didn't really want to do. Absolutely. Like go to services and whatnot. We talked about it. Say it again, Jason.
Sleeping in tents.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Yes, but also just going to all of the, back in the day at GBT, every Friday night it seemed like we was at somebody else's church fellowshipping. You got to get off of your ship and go to the other man's ship, and that's called fellowship. And he says that because he probably got that from my dad, probably, right?
I get two fellas in the same ship.
Yes.
My dad used to say that. My father used to say that too.
He said that too?
Yeah.
No, but every Friday night we would be leaving jobs, school, whatever. We'd be driving up to Delaware. We drive to DC. I mean, it did bless us on the other side of things because we built great relationships with other ministries and other churches. But that sacrifice of being on the road every weekend, I don't know, being in traffic and all those other things that you don't anticipate, and it's taking you 2.5 hours to get there, and you still gotta sing and deliver and still do what you got to do. There's a benefit of it because it's what we're doing now. It has really kind of groomed us for that. But back then, you didn't quite see it as such a blessing. You didn't quite see it as such.
One of the things, I know we kind of mentioned this already. I'm gonna piggyback. Number one, Jason talking about dad giving.
Dumfries, Virginia. Yes.
Yeah, Dumfries, Virginia. Yep. Dad one time came and had us move our furniture, our living room furniture, out of our house in order so that the church could have furniture.
Look at Mark's face. Are you kidding me? Yes.
This is a true story, Mark.
Or how the oven of this when we lived at the parsonages at the church, how the oven downstairs or across the way wouldn't be working. And good night, baby. And they would come and cook the food in our oven.
Yeah.
Without even asking.
Come home and mom would find a bird in the oven baking.
Or
yeah, that kind of stuff.
Or how about holidays were never private?
Ever.
That's a good one.
Never. Look at the words coming out of my mouth.
I'm gonna push me back in my chair and be quiet right there, because
me too. I'm gonna be quiet because that fills me up. That fills me up.
You guys have
so what about? We need it. This is therapy right now. You see that we're on the couch right now. Can you tell? Might need to move the conversation along somewhere else, because right there, that's a serious, that's a thorn. But His grace is sufficient.
I just want to say I'm thankful for some of y'all's money that Bishop Nelson gave me. Thank you all. Thank you, James and Joe. I really appreciate what you did.
That is so dumb.
But I think a sore spot for a lot of PKs is the whole thing of, I think George kind of touched on it, being taken for granted.
Yes.
And it's like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like,
right.
if you are not serving in the church in some capacity, everybody hates you or is talking about you. And then if you are serving, and generally we do what the PKs do, what generally people either won't do or can't do. Right. And sometimes a combination of both. And that's why even tonight, someone asked me, well, how do you think that people will feel about the Nelsons and the Moores being on? And my response was, I don't care. There would be no war if there was no Nelson family. It's not just Bishop Nelson, though we will always revere and honor him and Mother Nelson for what they've done. But the truth be told, the family has to be recognized and honored as well, because of the investment that you all made. And so, but we live this life where people are jealous. Thank you, John. Thank you, Pastor John. Your dad did give me watches. Thank you. I got them too. Some watches and briefcases. But back to this, it's like you're always the bad person, no matter what.
Yes,
and people can do things to you as a PK. You're expected to be a Christian, and you're not expected to ever go off. But it's like you have all these limits that nobody else has.
Right.
They can cuss, they can fight, they can do everything to you. And as a PK, you're expected to be the better person. And that gets tiring sometimes, especially from people that you're making this investment in, and they might be gone next week anyhow.
Right.
Very true.
You're being so nice to people and loving on people. PKs have to have a thick skin because they love people who they will see go.
Let me tell you this story real quick. Bishop Moore, this is before your time, but we had a person, and I'm gonna say her name, but she's gone on. Half y'all won't know who I'm talking about. Her name was Evangelist Sadie Mack.
I remember her.
Her name was Evangelist Sadie Mack. It's me. We'll tell y'all that story. We'll tell y'all the story in a minute. But here's a true story.
We might want to do it offline.
Yeah, maybe we'll tell that story offline. But here's the story I can tell about me. I don't know if y'all remember this. I saw Shelly Snow. She was back at the church at this time when we were on Utah Street. We had it wasn't me, but somebody spilled. There was a picture they had in a women's they had the women's restroom, but they had like a little sitting area. And people were playing, and somebody spilled water on the carpet. And they said it was me. I didn't do it. Somebody else did it. Sadie Mack went to my father and told my father that I spilled the water on the carpet.
Oh,
So when
God.
he called me in, this is what started my lying ministry. When he called me in,
Lying.
when he called me in, no, listen to the story. Y'all think I'm playing. When he called me in, I said, Dad, I didn't do it. He said, tell me the truth, son. I said, Dad, I didn't do it because I didn't do it.
Do it.
He said, why would she lie on you? Why would she say this? And I said,
because saints lie.
I said, Dad, it wasn't me. See, I'm telling y'all, Shelly talk, but she know. I said, Dad, it wasn't me. I want y'all to know the only way that I got out was my dad beat me until I lied.
I've been on the receiving end of one of them too, so I definitely know.
Shelly got me a spanking. Shelly, you got me a beating.
I was taught the truth shall make you free. That's what they told me. But in this context, lying saved my tail. So I don't know how y'all want to listen.
Okay.
It wasn't until I said, and I'm like, and then later on, they came and said, your son didn't do it. And I was like, I told you. He never made her apologize. He never made her get it right. I may have an audit against her. I don't know.
Okay.
She did.
But that's the stuff, Mark. We're held to a higher standard.
Lying saved my tail.
Yeah. Now George has been killing it lately with posts about PKs. And
Yes,
perspective,
he sure has.
on social media. Say what?
I told y'all. Where's the oil at? Y'all gonna have to anoint me tonight, Reverend. Y'all have to put some oil on me. I'm tired of being misty. I want to be drenched. Okay.
But listen, we have a lot of PKs on here that are chiming in, and here's the reality. The reality is, in all seriousness, like Harry, shout out to Harry. His dad just transitioned about a month or two ago, and shout out to him. But they understand, and others. We saw Darian Dennis and some other PKs on here that understand John Williams, and even though we cut up with Tamil's a PK and others, because people really don't understand the cost to be who we are.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is people don't understand that the only people that understand PKs are other PKs. Because
Absolutely.
if you try to explain the PK life to a non-PK, they don't get it.
It don't ever
Yeah,
make sense.
and George, specify which PKs we're talking about here.
Oh, thank you, sir. Okay, let me tell you something. When we say PKs, we're talking about pastors' kids, not preachers' kids. There's a difference because
There's
It's different.
here's the thing. A preacher's kid is one who's your parent just preaches. A pastor's kid is one your parents are responsible for the ministry, which means that if you're a preacher's kid, your Christmas may not suffer if the church is suffering.
Absolutely.
If you're a pastor's kid, that affects vacation,
Yeah.
Christmas, birthday, which toys are going to be missing from your room and be like, see, there's a difference. And that's the kind of thing that, I made a whole lot of posts about being a PK, and I had all these deacon kids trying to jump in like, oh, I get it. Like, no, you don't.
No, you really don't.
It is a difference.
Your dad locked up the church. My dad paid the church's bills. It's a difference.
Do you understand?
It's keys, money, not the same thing, And then on top of that, the bad part is when you leave the church, you now hate me. You don't just hate my dad. You hate me.
Right.
Yep.
It's nothing worse than being one of those more kids.
One of those more. One of those Nelson.
One of them Nelson kids. Oh no, man. And so I think a lot of PKs, we're angry because we're doing stuff that we didn't start.
Yeah.
But also you also don't get a chance, like Bishop was saying, Bishop Mark, you don't get a chance to make any mistakes.
Right.
If you make a mistake,
Right.
it's public. And the same grace that God gives the regular saints in the pews, we don't have that same grace.
Right.
The same grace of restoration and reconciliation. We're not privy to that. We don't have the privilege and the honor of experiencing that side of God's grace.
Right.
If we should make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you're throwing the baby out and you're throwing out the bathwater.
And then how about this? And don't let our parents celebrate us.
Jesus.
That's the worst thing in the world.
Well, let me just add another side of that, James. Because Bishop James, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And can we just be Mark and James and Jason and Jonathan for now?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we get off, we're all back to our time, okay? But
y'all call me deacon. Y'all be common amongst yourselves. Listen.
Another side of that though is a lot of people, and again, this goes back to the difference between PK and preacher's kid. Sometimes because the pastor celebrates his kid, now every preacher in the church feels like they're supposed to get up and celebrate their kids too.
Absolutely.
They don't realize the pastor's kids are paid a different kind of price. They're paying a different price.
Yeah.
And it's so distasteful when you getting up and talking about your children at length, just because you're a preacher. That's not cool. But I digress. Back to your point.
Mm-hmm. No. But you're so right. And then as a pastor now, it almost makes you feel subconscious when you do recognize your kids. Because
it's to be mad.
Not me.
No. I do it, but I'm saying.
When I tell you, I do it with guilt free. Every time I bring my kids up, guilt free.
Yeah, with the sacrifice.
Because the thing is, they do have to deal with the repercussions of every decision that we make as a pastor. You know what I mean? And I think I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned having my own kids and pastoring. Is not making them have to live up to this unattainable status that nobody in our family really cares about. If my kids are good with me and Tanya, I'm good. I forget what the church says about them. And, I do everything I can to make sure that nobody places Jason and Jalen on a pedestal unnecessarily. No pressure. Y'all ain't got to live up to anything. You be who you're supposed to be. You be who God has called you to be, and it is what it is. Because to a degree, I hated the pressure of having to be something that didn't necessarily align with my destiny.
Absolutely. And don't add a call to it.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that.
What if you preaching now,
so fast? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You preaching now?
That's the thing. What if you don't have a call?
Or when are you gonna marry a pastor?
Well, you just may, but you're not in line for that right now. He has to go through at least 6 or 7 people before you even get in line. I just wanted to say that.
There's a whole line.
Everybody listen, that's out there tonight. We want you to hear this.
Say it again for the people in the back, John. What did you say?
It's way too many people.
Announcement.
We're shutting down Ministries International. Just call us Sid.
But no, seriously, the members will call you into a position and a role that's not at all for you.
I think go ahead, George. No, go ahead.
What about though the members of the church that have questions for your parents and they not bold enough to ask your parents, and so they come to you?
We call it picking you. They try to pick you.
They try to pick you. Like how much your parents' house costs? None of your business. like be asking all kind of stupid. And my parents, here's what my parents did. I want to say this. Mark and Sharon were really blessed because we weren't just raised by good pastors. We were raised by 2 PKs. Both of our parents were PKs.
Yeah.
So they knew the struggle of being PKs. Yeah. So with us, they had a certain level of grace and understanding because they knew what we were going through. They had a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
So the blessing of that was they would sit us down and they would give us the whole game. Yeah. They would say, all right, Mark, Jordan, Sharon, listen, this is what the members are going to ask you. If they ask you this, you say this. So we got good at ask my daddy. Like we got good at it. Like what you ask my mama, and they would never ask because they learned the hard way. It's like, okay, you can't do that. But that's something that I think pastors who are watching, you got to make sure that you're teaching your children the right way to handle being a PK. And it's so important that you teach them that, number one, you love them unconditionally. And you have to teach your members how to love your children the right way. Because if you don't teach them, they won't do it. And then it's also important that you're extra protective, because you cannot let everybody babysit your kids.
Say that.
You cannot let all of the members of your church babysit your children. Your children are a target. And you can't let them go to everybody's house. You got to pray and ask the Lord, okay, who can watch my kids if I need someone to?
That's right.
Because then that's a whole nother level of church hurt that we don't want to talk about right now.
But I do think the blessing of being a pastor's kid, though, in a sense, is I always talk about the wax on, wax off kind of thing. It teaches you endurance. It teaches you durability. It teaches you to love people regardless. Like it's an unspoken thing that ends up happening. You end up loving people regardless of how they treat you. Even though you might have some sense of frustration, but you watch Dad and other pastors, you watch how they love on people, and it teaches you how to still serve and honor and regard people, even if they don't like you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Amen.
That's good. No, that's
right.
Oh no, it's the truth. It's the truth. But
I forgot Mark was a part of this panel. I forgot.
He's back. I
forgot.
He came in noisy again. Once again, he came in a little noisy.
Mark, I was this far from getting your offering, Reverend.
Ain't no money at this robbery.
Ain't no money. The comments was just about. I was about to put my cash app up.
He preached tonight, so we know he got money. He could take care of lunch tomorrow.
No.
My cash app is.
No.
We don't want you to say nothing because you're still there.
You're still there, buddy.
But one time they did you right.
He left us. How much they pay you, Mark? Look, how much they pay you?
This is what the members do. This what the members will do. This is what the members will do.
Airport.
Let's do this again tomorrow. Oh my God.
But you know what it does though? It causes you now as a father. It's caused me to almost be a little selfish when it comes to my family and I. Like one of the tests that I failed as a bishop, because I know you're supposed to be giving hospitality. I failed that one because we were so hospitable. I felt like the Lord counted what my dad did to my record.
Yeah, rollover hospitality.
Yeah. Dad just came back in. Dad is not watching. He's oh God.
Yo, carry over hospitality is
it's going to go into the children's generation. That blessing.
That's a generation.
But I want to say this. While we're being very serious. I do want to say this because I don't ever want to give a wrong impression of our father. He was a great father, still is a great father. He was just an old Pentecostal apostolic father that believed that the church was the most important thing. But I will say this: Dad has evolved
a lot.
Dad has greatly evolved because originally it was God, the church, and then the family. But he has evolved, and he is very much family oriented. He really is a great father. So I want to make sure that we don't create the wrong image of our father. However, the stories are still true, but we want to make sure we want to make sure that y'all understand that he's a great pastor, still is a great pastor. He still is a great pastor. And the second thing that I want to acknowledge tonight, and I believe that this is noteworthy, we have been on for 50 minutes and we have not had to pull out a dictionary because Jason spoke. I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate you.
Jason's head is probably hurting. Jason's head is hurting holding all these words in.
Because all these 5-letter words that like like 3-letter words like yes, things like that. It's too low for him. It's too low for him. He had to acquiesce to us tonight.
I'm living amongst the common folk today.
Mark, I know you're just getting on, but what do you want to share about your PK experience before we cut you off?
I sent my thoughts in the private chat. I have a brand to maintain. God is good. What I think in the bits and pieces I was getting, I agree with everything that you guys have said. But I think that it's, I think part of the frustration that some PKs feel, and I think that it's such a great mix on the screen because we are literally one big family. But I think that as I'm traveling and meeting people and having conversations, a lot of preachers' kids carry a constant low-grade pain and a low-grade frustration because many of them feel like they have parents that can hear from God but can't hear them. And so I've met so many preachers' kids that are frustrated and hurting because their thing is, how do you have a word for the people? You got a word for bishops, you got a word for other pastors, you got a word for all of these people that you look to, but I'm down the hall and I don't even feel like you see me. And I think that the benefit that we have on the screen, yes, Matisa, you are right. That's why I was late. I was handling important things. But at any rate, I'm out here.
But we're not. Y'all see that? The level of importance.
I didn't see y'all today. I didn't see y'all in the article. I saw me, but it's okay. But
okay, here we go.
God is good. As I was saying, don't interrupt me. As I was saying, I'm late, but worth the wait. Don't play me.
Okay.
But no, I think for real though, a lot of preachers' kids don't have the benefit that we have. I think my brother said, in our family, for example, we're PKs that were raised by PKs. So they had an opportunity to learn some of the lessons, take some of the L's, and they were able to kind of avoid some of those things in our life. But so many preachers' kids feel that their parents don't know how to communicate with them, but know how to talk to everybody else. And I think that that's where we get a lot of the resentment, a lot of the stereotypical church robbed me of my family, robbed me of my parents, And so I think that this is why these kinds of conversations and these kinds of settings, really, Shelley, that's what we're doing? Somebody block her. Somebody block her for me. Somebody block her. But that's why these conversations are important, because I think preachers' kids need to know, pastors' kids specifically, because there's a difference. Pastors' kids need to know that they are seen. They are seen. They are heard. They matter. It's this constant thing of having to walk on eggshells, because if I do what I'm good at, then you're mad. But if I don't do it, you won't do it. And so it doesn't get done. And if it doesn't get done, then I'm the devil, because why didn't you help? You know, how the pastor going to tell us to help and his own kids won't help? Well, when we helped, you had an attitude because we were so much better than you were.
Yeah.
In large part. And I mean, let's just be honest. It's late.
But tell them why we were better than them.
Talk about
We had to. We had to do it.
We're better in part in many sectors.
We really need you to block. He was talking about block ministry. We really need you to block somebody right now.
I got him. Webcam chat, hot girls and boys.
Well,
that's probably some of the followers from the Nelson. No, that's what they come up on my stuff.
They didn't come on until Mark came on. Let's be
Mark
clear.
was talking.
We've been talking for
He got a bug on his
time,
computer.
and as soon as Mark comes on, all the webcams pop up.
Wow, that's what we're doing.
Out at night.
Okay.
The Bible said, "My sheep know my voice."
Dirt bag. That's all I have to say about that.
My sheep know my voice.
No, I think they probably came because they heard Jason's new single. What's it called? Moist? Is that what it's called? Drenched? What's the new single? I forgot. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Oh, God.
Well, anyway, amen. A lot of hurt, a lot of frustration. But I'll close with this.
the reason that so many preachers' kids are supremely talented is because they had so many extra reps. Because
Right.
there was, in some cases, no one else to do it. So you have no choice but to get better at something that you find yourself doing all the time. So it's a curse, but it's a blessing in it as well. I would suggest, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe that Bishop James Nelson Jr., Jonathan Nelson, Jason Nelson, I don't believe that they would be who they are, the fullness of who they are, without these formative horror stories. Because it was those stories that built a resiliency. Jason, that was for you. It was those stories that was not enough letters. Never mind. I'll try again. It was those kind of stories and those kind of lessons that built, tensile strength and character and skill. And so
I'll take tensile strength. That was actually pretty intelligent.
Yeah, I got you. That's my thought.
My nerves so bad.
But I will say this though, y'all are getting so y'all are getting grandfather Nelson. So his grace is more sufficient for y'all than it was for us.
My God.
We didn't have the sufficiency of grace back then.
His words are seasoned with grace.
Yeah.
It wasn't back then.
So he really gave away the
bland
fun.
to us. You hear me? Bland.
Oh, but let me tell you this. Dad and I had a little something at the house, and we were in consecration. Mark, you may remember when we did a consecration every 30 days in January. And so we were closing out the consecration.
Every 30 days in January?
31 days, excuse me.
Don't worry about his math. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
31 days or whatever.
Every January for 30 days.
Okay, right. But still, it's still 31 days in January. I still said it wrong. Isn't it 31 days? But anyway, the very last day of the consecration, we would have communion. And so we were having communion at the church. Back then, this is when I used to play the organ for the church. And it's way back then. And I had an attitude, and I did have an attitude, and my attitude was with Dad, because Dad sometimes could be mean. And y'all know, like in that space, right? He was being Dad, but he was not being, it wasn't Pastor Dad, it was Dad who was addressing me.
But
so he felt like I was sabotaging. Huh?
In the pastor space.
Right. So he felt like I was sabotaging the service. So during service.
You were.
Y'all, Jonathan Wood, he would sabotage the service from the organ when he was mad.
Jonathan.
You were sabotaging.
No, paint a picture.
Tell the truth.
I don't know
I
if
need the full
sabotaging.
story.
I just didn't have. I just
Jonathan sabotaging. Jonathan was sabotaging.
No, he was.
No, I was not sabotaging the service. I just didn't have energy and strength and vigor and excitement in my playing. I was still playing chords. I just wasn't playing like trying to make everybody shout all night long. It's like, let's just get through the service.
Before you finish this service, I remember one time you looked at me and said, "Watch this."
People of God, right now. Jason Nelson is lying right now. People of God,
Jonathan,
the Bible says all lions shall have their part in the lake. Right now, I probably did do it, but Jason Nelson is lying. People of God. But look,
we're gonna wrap up in a minute because
I gotta go. All right, I'm hearing you.
Growing. That's the funny thing. Dad
got mad and said, "Get up off my organ. I don't need no attitudes on my organ." This is during communion. Everybody, we're about to take communion. Everybody's like, "Tea is so sweet," whatever the communion song is. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross. Get up. Get up off my organ. I don't need no attitudes on my organ. So I'm still wounded to this day. That was me talking on the couch. Okay. Excuse me.
So what happened? What was the conversation afterwards? That's what I want.
That's what I want to know.
Well, I ran away for a couple of days.
Literally.
And I wrote a letter. I got mad.
But
we're back. We're good.
Were there tear stains on the letter?
No.
Wasn't tears. Pray for me. Pray for Peter. Wasn't tears. I was growing pains, y'all, but I'm a better Jonathan now. Wasn't tears though.
Are you healed though?
Oh yeah, I'm good now. Way good.
Now we get it. Mayhouse on Scott.
How did you not see
Do you
that?
understand?
If y'all did not see that coming,
George set him up.
I saw it.
George set it up.
y'all did not see this
Oh my God.
I'm throwing it
I
up.
was something else back in the day, boy. I was something else. I tell you, that renegade rebellion spirit was on me.
That's why we sent him over into the empowerment temple.
Okay, I'm back. Okay.
Now,
I
they
know these
say
people
he
think
had
we
a
are crazy
Capri
at midnight. Okay, all right. Do you see what they said? I had a Capri Sun.
Pastor Pam.
Yes. Yeah, I had a few Capri Suns back in the day. Y'all pray for me, but I'm good now. Me and Dad are good. Okay, James, take it because this is okay.
No, listen, but Jay's calling me now. She don't know I'm on live. But listen, y'all, we've been on for an hour. This is what we do because we're a family. So this is not anything that's rehearsed. This is us, unscripted all the time. We're real, and this has been absolutely amazing. So as we get ready to wrap up, and y'all, let's go around and just have some closing remarks. And at this point, it's nothing gonna be serious because we done lost the seriousness, but because we know we got 9 o'clock prayer in the morning. But Bishop Martin, start with you.
You start with me?
Yeah, we can start with.
Okay. I am kind of serious on this. This has been great, and I think it's been cathartic. I want those that are watching who are not PKs or not PK families, not either pastors' kids or preachers' kids, to know our experience is not all monolithic, or we're different shades even on here as far as our experiences. For example, because I was raised by PKs on both sides, I had a really good experience. You know,
Yeah.
my parents were extremely old school as far as God and the church and family. But I think what they did that helped us was they saw the family as a unit with them. So it was us and God and the church. And so we all served together. We never felt excluded. They always kept us with them. And I would say even to some young pastors that may be on here, just a couple quick tips. Be sure that you really watch your kids and keep them close to you.
Yes, sir.
That's one. I think George touched on that, because there's nothing worse than a PK that's not just abused by life and by the meanness of people, but that actually gets physically abused because you weren't careful. You're so busy serving God, you didn't watch it. Everybody around the church and everybody wanting to come to your house, or everybody wanting them to come to their house, is not saved. And so you need to watch your kids. And one other point I'll say, and I had a lot I could say, but don't let people honor you and don't honor your kids too.
That's good.
And I don't mean by that, put your kids on a pedestal. Your kids don't need armor bearers. Their armor's not that heavy. They need babysitters, and they don't need nannies. There's nothing worse than these, PKs, or even preachers' kids that have nannies and their parents are young and vibrant. That's stupid. So, unless you now if you're Jason or Jonathan and you're really big time like that, they need a governess or a nanny, because these guys are really, really big time. But for the most of us, our kids don't need nannies. They don't need governesses. They need you. So don't put them on that kind of pedestal. But like our policy, you couldn't have me at a head table and have my kids off at some kid's table drinking and eating something different than I eat.
Right.
If the head table's for me, then it's for my family too. If you give me an anniversary when my kids were small, now they don't do it now, but when my kids were small, they recognized my kids too. And that put some sweetness into what they had to endure. They endured enough already. They had to go through 14 years with no vacations. When we transitioned from Maryland to Georgia, we went like 14 years, no vacation. Sharon used to pray from the time she was a little until she was a teenager. Lord, let this be the year we go back to Disney World. And after 14 years, the Lord heard her prayer. My kids know what it is to go for years.
Got that life together. God heard it. Go ahead.
Without cable TV, they went for years without medical insurance. Never complained. So I don't think it's anything special that if you're going to give me some honor, I'm going to bring them along with me.
Yes,
and I think if more pastors would just follow those basic kind of rules, if you're in the ministry, treat your kids like they're partners to you.
Yes,
and they'll be a lot happier all the way. If you treat them like that they're something extra and what you do is your mission or whatever, they're going to resent the ministry and resent you. and just protect them from some of the hurts. You're not going to keep them from getting hurt. They're going to get hurt,
Right.
but do your best to insulate them if you can. That's what I have to say.
That's good. That's good, sir. Go ahead, Jason.
That's very good. What I would say is to all of the not just to the PKs, but also to the pastors that are on, the bishops, apostles, whatever your lot may be. Also, kind of in a semi-serious tone, I think we also have to recognize that pastors have to recognize that their children are more discerning, more perspicacious, whatever term you want to use.
What's that word?
Perspicacious.
Here we go.
Perspective.
Perspicacious.
Uncle James, you spoke it up, guy. You spoke it up.
He did.
We know it was coming.
He can't let the
Let me see if I can
That's
spell
what I
it.
need a dictionary. So, what perspicacious, discerning, intuitive.
Okay, keep going. It's all right.
I'm trying to find it. At any rate,
Jason can be quite verbose at times, as he would say.
Anyway,
Hey, he came to preach. He came to preach for us as spirit and truth. He was like, I'm going to try to make this concise. I can be quite verbose. The whole room was like, did he say verbose? He was in children's church. Did he say verbose in children's church?
Basically, read the dictionary before he preached. Like, oh, I'm gonna kill him with
He
this.
said, this is children's church.
Maybe
say this and this.
Jason was trying to say something.
Anyway, before I was
Go ahead, Thesaurus.
rudely interrupted. No, I think one of the things that we don't give credence to, or proper credence to, with our kids is how intuitive they are regarding things that are happening in the church. And in all honesty, I think in retrospect, there were some things that we probably could have avoided if Dad had been less concerned about how people perceived him handling us than actually hearing some of the things that we had to say about said people. And so I want to tell pastors that your PKs are not just hating on people. They're not just being mean to Sister Susie or Brother John. They are discerning. I believe that whatever a parent has, that thing can be multiplied in your children. Mm-hmm. And some of us don't recognize just how spiritually aware our kids are because they don't always posture it in a way that, sounds true. But I don't like them. It needs to be, and you need to pay attention to that. Something is weird about them. You need to pay attention to that. And unfortunately, when that particular voice isn't heard, if you talk about driving a wedge between you and your child, is when a child says that's dangerous, but doesn't necessarily know how to articulate it or to say it in a way that feels acceptable. Sometimes those things are ignored, and further down the line, when something deleterious or that's not advantageous to the church occurs, now you're having to deal with the repercussions of some things that could have been avoided if you had actually listened to the voice of your child, who you trained and brought up to pay attention and to understand the things that are happening in the church. So that's what I would say. Don't regret in the future not listening to the voice of your child in the present. It might save you a whole bunch of trouble.
Can I hop right there real quick, James? Because Dad would tell me back in the day, that's why he says prophet now, because I was discerning back then and intuitive. He would say, you're on it, son. You know what I mean? But to turn it around, when I was talking about Dad as it relates to like him getting on my case and whatnot, the one thing that I want to say for pastors' kids, preachers' kids, deacons' kids, whomever, though there may be sacrifices, be aware and fully in the moment of whatever that moment is. And I say that to say, I didn't realize that there were so many lessons that I was learning, and I was learning them by default. I wish that I was fully present in the moment, because I feel like I would be that much more equipped if I was fully aware of what was happening. I know I was developing, and I know that God was developing something in me, but God was developing something in me from my sensei, which is dad. And I was too in myself and in my emotions that I didn't see the value of what dad was teaching or what anybody was teaching. I didn't know that there was so many lessons to be learned in those moments until I became an adult. You know, it's true that you if you train up a child in the way that should go, they will not depart. We are all doing what we're doing because we learned the lessons along the way. But I wish that I was fully in the moment. So for those of you that are watching, be fully in the moment when you're learning something. If you're younger, be quiet sometimes and really evaluate a situation, discern, pay attention. Some lessons are caught and not taught. So pay attention fully so that you can learn what is happening in front of you. You may not have the tools right then and there, but God is equipping you and you don't even realize it.
That's good, Jonathan. George, Daisy, any one of y'all?
I'm gonna go right there after John. I would say get in therapy. I think all PKs, honestly, needs to go to therapy.
No, that's good.
I thought that's what this was.
Okay.
That's not what we just did.
We need to go to somebody licensed and knows exactly what they're doing. I think we've been doing a lot of bleeding tonight. But seriously, I think a lot of times grow up not.
I guess I still bled a little bit. I guess I bled a little bit is what you're saying.
Just tell us, Sarah.
Darling, you need to sing your song to yourself just a little bit.
Don't hold back.
No, but
I just felt like I just needed to help somebody. You got to just put it out there sometimes.
Absolutely. But seriously, I really do think there's obviously still a stigma within church with therapy. But as many of us know, you can have Jesus in therapy, have Jesus and a therapist. I just think it's important. I think when I got into therapy, I realized it was one of the best decisions for me. It was so much stuff that I had internalized and things that hurt me that I didn't even realize were pains or triggers specifically from church and specifically being in a PK family. So I think that getting into therapy would be an amazing step for as many of you guys that are open to that, that are watching us. So that's all I have for y'all.
Go ahead, George.
I think it's so important for pastors who are watching to make sure that you let your children know that you love them and that you love them individually and you don't just love the church, but you want a relationship with them. That's something I'm grateful for my parents for doing, is that they always let us know that they love us and they want to hang out with us. The hurts that I have with the church, I can say I have some hurts with the church, but I'm not mad at my parents. And that's a blessing to have a relationship. And I also want to say to PKs, be all of you. Be the complete vibe that you are. I think that's so important because sometimes PKs hold back on certain gifts because they don't want to make other people feel insecure. The reality is that you have a certain anointing in your life that you have paid for with your suffering. And the reality is if you hold back on it, there's going to be so many people that probably don't go to your church who will be touched by the power of your anointing. There will be no Bishop James Nelson. There will be no Bishop Jason Nelson. There will be no Elder Jonathan Nelson, no Elder Moore, no Elise, no Deacon George, if we did not operate in the gifts and callings that God has given us. And so I want to tell you, be all of you. Do not hold back. They don't like you anyway, and they're not going to like you. So you might as well do what God called you to do. That's it.
Wow. I was really not even being funny. I was really gonna try to highlight what George just said, just the importance of stepping into the fullness of who God has called you to be and not allowing the lack of support or the abundance of criticism that come from people that don't understand your life. Don't let that stop you from being all that God has called you to be. They will get over it. And the craziest part is sometimes the people that will look at you now, can we take the comments down that are covering my face, please? I'm trying to get the numbers to go up before we end. That would be great. That would be. This is amateur hour. I can't work like this. Okay.
Don't stop.
Who is controlling this? Wait,
Greatest
my dad?
mystery.
Oh, never. I think the moderator is doing a wonderful job. Here at World Assemblies of Restoration, the movie team. Wow, top notch.
Superb. Filet mignon.
Oh my! but just highlighting and reiterating what George said: be all that God has called you to be, because you don't want to get to the end of your life and realize or feel like you dumbed yourself down.
Yeah.
You could have been. I should have been, but I didn't want to offend people. I didn't want people to think the people will be okay. And you have to step into all that God has. That's the 2 cents that I would add. And I think seriously, everybody that's in here, I know we're going off now, but you really owe it to your timeline to hit share right now. Because even though we're going to end, someone's going to pick this up tomorrow. This is the internet. It never closes. So people all over the world are going to catch this. And there's some insight, even through the laughs, even through the bleeding, Jonathan. There's a lot of help that took place tonight. So you should probably share this because this is necessary.
And what's interesting, my comment's real simple, and that's to the parents, Mark, and that is, don't make your children live up to the expectation of people. Give your children the freedom to be whoever God, number one, has called them to be, but even to come into their own identity. Of course, you as the parent, you help to guide and shape, but the reality of it is your children are not you. And if we try to make our children us, it can sometimes cause irreparable damage, because you're trying to cause them to be something that they are not. And the reality is, one of the things I had to learn, even with my own children, that I could not make them me. I had to give them the freedom to be who they are designed to be. And sometimes as parents, we live under that pressure to do that. So I simply want to say that, and we're getting ready to wrap up. The last thing that I want to say is that I know that the Lord blessed Mark with YLC, and it's turned out to be a great conference, but I have a special announcement. We're starting the APKC, the Anointed PK Conference. And for all of you that were a part of the YLC, we thank God for his tenure. But now the Lord has called us to higher heights.
I thought that conference was already here. Didn't they call that phone?
No, this is the anointed one. I don't know what the other one was.
Got it.
Hey, but before we go, there's a question that someone put up that I thought was a pretty good question. I think you all might want to take a stab at this right quick. How do you handle people calling your parents their spiritual dad or mom when you know that they're only there for opportunities?
And that spiritual dad stuff get on my nerves, especially on Father's Day. Like, it really bothers me. Like,
okay, so look at Jonathan.
They said I
Yeah,
bled.
I
I will be bleeding. I will be
Take the
bleeding.
name of Jesus with you.
Child of sorrow and of woe.
But you know what?
That's a
Honestly,
great question, though.
you handle it with honesty.
Yes.
If you know that they are operating in a way, I'm trying to find a word that's not what I'm thinking in my head and I'm feeling. Because
the good thing is you have enough words to find.
yeah.
So,
well, mendacious is the word that's coming to mind. But like, so if you know that they are liars, if you know that they are not being honest about,
Unless they were beat into lying, but go ahead.
well, yeah, unless you've been beat into lying. But you know, if there is a level of mendacity attached to what they're doing, then you have to say something to your parents. Mendacity. You have to say something to your parents. You have to say, hey, mom, dad, these people are not for you. They do not have your best interests at heart. And they are spiritual dadding and spiritual momming you. But the reality is, it is what they're doing is going to be detrimental to you in the future. And a lot of times what we have to recognize, even as pastors, is sometimes we take an L because they say they're connected to us.
Right.
I know that. I know I've been on the negative receiving end of that multiple times, where people are like, you know, don't you cover them? Isn't he your spiritual son? It's like, no, and
Right.
I think we have to be. Is this young man a walk?
Yeah, he is.
That's
He
so
is.
funny because I'm thinking of something.
I have my days.
I'm thinking of somebody right now.
I'm thinking something completely different.
I know two spiritual sons of two of the men on this panel right now. I've asked both spiritual fathers. Hey, do you still cover him? And two of you on here, I've asked
Get
both.
your boy. Get your boy.
And their name is not more. Their name is not more.
Their name is not more.
The name is not more.
George, why? Why would you? Why would
Get your boy.
I'm sorry right now. There are two men of God on this line right now who I have
I know
individually
exactly who you're
Do you
talking
still
about.
cover
My
him?
God.
I have
Hey,
done
whose man is this? What are you doing?
Man, this is
get your guy? Get your guy.
It's the guy. Hey,
yes.
out of control out here, man.
Did you see this?
I hope that every pastor
have
that's
made
on.
calls.
I hope that every pastor that's on here right now is listening, because it's come up several times. Listen to your kids.
Yes. Listen,
They know something. Listen to them. They'll help you.
But I will say it's a catch-22, because while there is the negative side, because honestly, listening to people that call themselves my father's son has, I'll say it traumatized me from this respect. Anytime somebody says I'm with you, I always look for them to leave, because almost
And that's
every
the truth.
single person
That's the truth.
that
Wow.
has said that to my father,
Go.
y'all, George.
George.
Almost every single
Mark, the
person.
webcam people are back. James is talking now, so you know. It's James and Mark.
Listen, if you give a prophet a glass of water, thirsty is what I'm saying.
Be thirsty, just don't be moist. That's all we ask. Just don't be the new album. Do the
I'm moist.
But James, I would like to say this as well.
Go ahead.
There's some people that we felt like, man, Dad, like just excommunicate them, or whatever case may be, or just sit them down, or whatever, or Dad, don't associate yourself with them. But there is still, this is going to be a churchy line, but there is still an oil that is released from Dad that person needs. That's also a part of the catch-22. So Dad has something that they need. So yes, they may be there for an opportunity, but they also have an opportunity to get their reconciliation, their restoration, or their I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but in other words, where he enhances them so that they can be empowered. That's the word I'm looking for, to become who they need to become, even if they're there for a season.
To become what God designed them to be. Is that
I mean, manifest.
Oh, okay.
Or be what he's called me to be. I will be what you call me to call to be. I mean,
plug it, son. Plug it. Plug
two of them. Music is available. Download on all digital music outlets.
He said two of them.
Go.
So I just want to say that.
We are close. We're almost done. We're close.
We've closed 15 times. Somebody texted me and said, we've closed 15 times. Y'all are really preachers' kids.
Yeah.
But listen, on a serious note, Jonathan, that's what I was getting to. So you're absolutely right, because it's the duality of it, where you have to listen to your children, because they can see things you don't see, and they hear things that you don't hear.
Yeah.
They hear things that you never hear, and they try to share it with you, and if you shut them down, then you hurt yourself. But also to the PK, there's a balance. Number one, you have to trust what you believe, what you see. But the other piece is, all of them are not bad. Like, for example, Bishop Moore, that's on here with us. He's been loyal for 30 years. And we're still in relationships, still going strong. He even came back to war as a son. So there are really some good ones out there, but it's really a matter of giving them time, be discerning, and then as Jonathan said, be open, because some of them do need what your parents have to offer.
Yeah.
And anyone else? We're done. We're good. Twinkie. All right. Listen, everybody. 9 o'clock prayer in the morning. And then tomorrow we have activities all day. Mark's session is tomorrow, even though he and promoted himself tonight, Lord.
In other words, we're gonna get some views tomorrow. That's what he's trying to say. You know who the people came to see. Huh? And so how you do it, George? Is that giving them the gusto?
Didn't nobody come to see you, Otis?
and all of Mark's followers going to be there. The webcams and everybody's coming. Everybody's coming for Mark. So please, I want you to chime in so that you can see all of his post-pandemic followers.
He left.
And all his OnlyFans. And they got to do it before the 30th because they're changing OnlyFans after the 30th. So y'all need to make sure y'all come follow him tomorrow.
Only James knows that, though.
I'm about to say, right.
I watched CNN and they were talking about you with your post. Amen. So
he got a text notification like, oh no.
Look, this
Ichabod, the glory has departed. The glory has departed.
It's way too late.
Ichabod,
It's time for bed.
the glory has departed.
Love you guys.
Love
The
y'all.
glory has departed. Ichabod,
All right,
love
y'all
you. Have a good night.
See
Love
y'all.
y'all. Peace.
Oh man.